Hey guys, Chris here with the Good Old Gamer. So I've been spoken too much about Intel's new X299 platform. And it seems like it's all the rage right now to jump on the, hey, what's going on Intel bandwagon, as Linus and both Jay from JayzTwoCents have put out their videos basically questioning Intel's entire method with this platform. And honestly, there's nothing wrong with that. This is definitely the most confusing platform that they've launched ever. As far as I'm aware. I mean, every platform that they've had has had a clear vision as to what it's supposed to do. They've had entry-level platforms, they've had high enthusiast platforms, and then, you know, years and years ago, everything was just on one platform, and then you just had faster CPUs for it. And that all made sense. But now they're basically taking i5s and i7s, current Skylake i5s and i7s, maybe tweaking them a little bit, and possibly even reducing the die by removing the integrated GPU, selling them for relatively the same price on these high enthusiast, very expensive motherboards, which you can't use all the features of because you don't have enough PCIe lanes. Now, I don't really want to go into much of this, as this is stuff that these guys have already kind of gone over. What I want to talk about is new information that has appeared on Techpowerup. According to this, it looks like AMD's Threadripper 16-core 32-thread, the entry-level one, the 1998, not the X version here, will be at $849. Now, granted, this isn't confirmed, but usually this close to a release, these reports and these leaks are usually very accurate. Now, what this means is AMD is going to be pitting their 16-core 32-thread CPU directly against Intel's 10-core 20-thread CPU, and Intel is going to be charging twice as much. In theory, I mean, who knows if these prices are going to be accurate, with their 18-core 36-thread CPU somewheres down the road. Now, what's really suspicious about that particular CPU and pretty much the 14, the 16, and the 18-core CPUs are, even the motherboard manufacturers had no idea that these CPUs were even going to come out. And this is really telling that these CPUs were never meant to exist unless they absolutely had to. So Intel was just kind of keeping these in the back, you know, probably for their Xeon chips, and saying, you know, if we must bring out these high core count CPUs to the masses, I suppose we can. And that's really where Jay and Linus were kind of going. You know, on the low end and the high end, it just doesn't make any sense as to what Intel's doing. Also, with them cutting down the PCIe lanes on their 8-core 16-thread CPUs, which have traditionally been 44 PCIe lanes on those, now cut down to 28. So they're basically nerfing that CPU. They have lowered the price, but they are making it worse in some respects, especially for expandability. And honestly, the reason why I didn't really talk about these CPUs too much and why they don't really matter is, as gamers, these are not really meant for us. So, I mean, it's not like these CPUs are really what I'm going to be recommending anybody buy anyway. The reason why I bring this up is when Ryzen launched, there were some people out there thinking that Intel had this magical CPU just sitting in their back shelf, you know, just waiting for some competition, and, you know, they were just going to retake the throne with 40, 50% IPC gains over AMD, and that would be the end of it. Or maybe something that clocked way higher, or whatever. This is clearly not the case. Reports were that Intel did not have a response to AMD if they were to become competitive again, and this is apparently the case. So it looks like Intel's method of just, hey, we're going to charge whatever we want because we can, isn't going to work for them anymore, especially if we're looking at an $850 CPU being available that will be clearly in the same league with Intel's $2,000 CPU, which, you know, granted, you could probably overclock the cheaper 16-core 32-thread CPU from, you know, AMD, just like a 1700 versus buying an 1800X. The other thing is on the Threadripper platform, you get 64 PCIe lanes, so they're actually industry-leading in that particular category. So their expandability is better than Intel's best, and it's available on the entire Threadripper lineup. So they're offering substantial value over their competition at a much lower price. Now, what this means to me is that AMD is really gunning for it. They're trying to take over every single segment of each market, and I think that they're doing a really good job there. Now, personally, I don't really care who's delivering the better processors. Like right now, I'm running an Intel chip. I will be getting a Ryzen chip, and I'll probably also be looking at getting a Coffee Lake CPU, depending on when that comes out. Rumors are saying that it's been pushed up a few quarters and will possibly be launching, this fall sometime. And that might be an interesting CPU, and hopefully that does something, but I'm not really expecting much out of Intel. I just think that they'll bump up the mainstream to 6 cores and 12 threads, which is interesting because their their Kaby Lake X CPU, the 4-core 8-thread CPU, will just be completely nullified by even a mainstream CPU. So makes that make even less sense. Well, guys, I just want to throw this information out there. If you guys weren't following the situation, perhaps this information is new to you, and hopefully you found it interesting. It just looks like we're going to have some really good competition for the near future in the CPU market, which is great. And hopefully prices go down. As you can see right here, looks like Ryzen's already starting to go down a little bit. They're lowering the entire R7 series. So this way, they're going to make some more room for the Threadripper chips, because it looks like they're not going to be super, super expensive. They will be affordable. So if you wanted to get yourself, HEDT platform and some quad-channel memory, looks like Threadripper is going to be an amazing value for even as low as, probably $500, $600, $700. You should be able to get into there. Now, granted, like I said, for gaming, I wouldn't waste your money. You're still better off just getting, a regular Ryzen CPU and an X370 or B350 motherboard. Or, you could go with the Kaby Lake right now. You don't have to wait for X299. You can buy one right now, get a cheaper motherboard, and buy the exact same CPU. So I'd recommend going that particular route if you want to stick with Intel. Well, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And as always, if you like this kind of video, please hit that like button. Please subscribe. Please share with friends. That really helps us out. And if you really want to help support us, you can join us on Patreon by becoming a patron. For as little as only $1 a month, you can really help us out, get some more tech on hands, and we can make higher quality content videos for you guys. Thank you so much for your support, and we will catch you guys in the next video.